So I'll go ahead and start with Liz. What are some of the, do you have some prepared questions?
I do have an issue. I reported 3 days ago that I had a problem with an image just not showing. And you wrote back, but as a webmaster, it's terrible to have pages that look like that. So you said not to correct it, but it's been 3 days. I feel like you need more help for your support because it takes so long to get anything fixed that it's kind of difficult as a webmaster because we want our website to look good. So I don't know if other people have trouble with this same issue, but the day that when everything went kafooey, that was really terrible because none of the images, well, a lot of them didn't show, but this I've seen happen at different times where the image connection, some is lost and I have to reconnect it to the image so that it displays on the page.
And when that happens, because you did explain that you saw it on the editing form, if it is not appearing on the page itself or the content, does it show a little broken icon?
Yes.
Okay, that does give me some more information that I can add to our ticket. Just off the top of my head, I can't exactly say what that could be, but once we send it up to our tech team with more details, that's when they can dive in and really give us some answers about what's really going on.
Have you heard that from anybody else? Has anybody else had that issue?
This is the first time that I have heard this reported about images disappearing. Did you notice this after when you first added those images after saving it? Were they there displaying after saving?
Oh yeah, for several days.
Okay,
so all of a sudden it lost the connection, and okay. Sometimes I wonder if the name, now when I put new images in, I'm using your advice to try to put something in the prefix that gives me ownership, because then there's no chance that somebody's going to use the same name. So that may help. I don't know, because I don't know what's going wrong.
Right. No, but any details that we can capture are always good. We try to throw as much as we can at the tech team, because sometimes they latch on to things that we may not think are as important. But thank you. Did you have any other questions along with that one?
Well, just the turnaround time, that especially if you have a problem on the weekend and you think, oh my gosh, I have to wait till Monday. Well, I can't tell you that it's always Monday, but I mean, that's why I think you need more help, because, you know, you can only do so much.
Well, depending on the severity of the issue, because the issue that you were having, you had reported that you had resolved it, we knew that we just needed to be able to come back and investigate the issue, but it wasn't going to be a timely issue because you came up with a solution. Yeah, we will, you know, try to report and respond to weekend items, even if we may not be in the office, but depending on the severity of the issue, you may not see a response immediately.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely. Thank you, Liz. I'm going to just go down the line. Nancy from Utica, Rome.
I've had that problem that Liz mentioned a couple of times, but then I'll put it back in, or I have ignored it and it comes back on its own. But I mean, it's not been nothing I've really been worried about. I didn't know you were doing these sessions, and I just thought I'm always ready to learn something new. I do have a question, like about the committees.
Okay.
I don't really understand. They seem to be associated with individual leagues, some of them. And
Yeah,
that makes the list so large and confusing. I'm not really sure what it's used for.
the list definitely does get large because it is a global list. But committees, they are representative of a certain league because of the league that created that or the webmaster that created that committee. So because you, Nancy, belong to the Utica Rome Metro League, any committee that you would create would be associated with your league. And as long as it's published, it would display in that committee's list. So every webmaster has that same global list. You do get a chance to relate to other leagues lists, so it is important to be careful in that. You can search by your league's name when it comes to that list. And I'm sorry, I should probably
Where are you
be.
searching? What are you searching with the committee?
Yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen. I realize that we're diving in and I'm not showing you anything here. Why don't I just do this as our generic webmaster? So starting out on your league's homepage, you'd get through to your administer league site menu and add committee. So that's where you're starting if you didn't have one already. If you did have an existing one that you were working with, then you can go through to manage content instead. But let's say we are working with a brand new one.
Okay.
And if you are creating or editing the committee, there is a list of within this committee where you can relate to other content. I'm going to scroll down to that that I'm referring to. Related content. Right. This list is quite large and doesn't have much distinctive information. And that's something that I'm not sure if we can add to, but it's definitely worth looking into and seeing what, if any, the tech team can add to this to make this identifiable.
What's even the benefit of creating a committee? Like, why does it matter?
It's probably best if I work with an existing committee. Does anybody have an example of a committee that you have on your league site?
We have one on Orange Coast.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to masquerade as you, Jan. Switch this up a bit.
I don't even know what a committee is. I never heard of it.
I know. I have no idea what its purpose is.
The biggest difference between the committee content type and any other is the ability to relate to it. That related content section. Let me show you what it looks like on an actual live page. And I'm sorry, let's see, Jan, is it double N?
No, it's one N, ETTE.
Okay, thank you. Because with a committee page, you can relate to items and that shows up under the body of the committee. And I'm not sure if you have any. Oh yeah, we do. So everything under all posts related to this committee will be what would be found in either the related content section, that little piece that we just looked at by editing the committee, or another way, if you make a new draft of the item that you want to relate. Let's open that in a new box. Any other piece of content, when it comes to a committee, you might have events that they're handling that you'd want to relate to it, or articles on, things that they have been up to. Anything that would have to do with what the committee is taking action on or their work has to do with, you may want to relate whatever other content that is to that committee. But scrolling down to where you can relate this content item, right now I'm editing an article, and this is that other list that we were referring to where you can search by your league name. And rather than starting with the committee and relating to content from there, it's better to start with the content that you want to relate to the committee and search for the committee that way. So
do you have to have members to, for this to be
a committee
work? Yeah, I mean, I haven't implemented any members on my website, members only, and adding all the members.
You do not. Adding a committee is just like if you were adding a page. And it's just like any other content item, and the way it'll look will just all depend if you are relating content to it. If you're not relating content to it, it may just look like a regular page.
Okay.
So it would show on the menu? It would show as a menu item?
That would be
we have it on our menu.
Yeah, depending on if your league has gone through to add that. There's a couple of ways that you can do that. I'm just going to jump back to that editing form. Still from just any editing form when you're making changes in a draft. If you scroll down to the bottom before saving, you have menu settings here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how you can add to the menu in the middle of editing the content by providing.
I think she was asking about putting the committees in the menu. And
I see.
No, you would have a menu item of committee, and then
under our work, all of those are different committees. If you can show them the menu of our work, all of those are committees, and those aren't all our committees, but those are the most. They're the ones that are recruiting new help right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and for each of these, it's either going through and creating a new draft to manage those menu settings at the bottom, or another way is just going straight to your menu. You have a cog here for list links. This is a quick way to jump to it from any page, and you land here. You can add a link or mess with an existing one that you need. When you add a new link, that's going to open up a new page, and you'll manage whatever changes there.
Amaris, while you're there, can you talk about the row weights? Because that wasn't checked, but I don't know what those row weights are, where you just were.
I'll jump back here. The show row weights is another way of reordering your menu. It essentially removes the draggy handles or the grabby handles. If I click it again to hide row weights, I have these 4-pronged arrows, and then instead the row weights will add a way of ordering the main menu items, but then also a way of ordering the children. And I say children to make it easy on parent and child links.
But the grabby handles are the easiest way to do it.
They are.
Okay, that's good enough. Thank you.
The row weights don't let you indent. I'm going to go ahead and stop myself there because I realized I started to go down a different path. I wanted to make sure that we were still answering the committee question. did you
Okay,
have
so
any more?
say, so she's got committees set up, like climate change and like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she creates an article and associates climate change to that article.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to appear on the climate change page or in the just the general articles page? Or will it be in both places?
That's
Yeah.
right, in both. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as long as it's published, it will definitely display in the general article page. And then once it's related to that committee, it will show there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, great questions. Did you have any others, Nancy?
No, I mean, right now I'm just picking up tips, I guess, right now. I'm not having any trouble at the moment.
Awesome. Okay.
I have a tip for you, Nancy. I put our league name first and then the committee name, because that way I can find it when I'm looking for my committees.
That's what I was thinking, that list, everybody should have their league name first, and then you'd have all your committees all together.
And it just kind of tips everybody off to that these are not their league, these are not their committees, they're our committees. So don't tag to it, because then.
Right, because because I may have tagged to some committee that doesn't have a league mentioned with it. Is my material showing up on their page now?
Well,
Yeah.
with every committee, there should be a league at the end of it.
Or maybe it's a different, maybe.
So it may have been relating to, like if you're going through the committee itself, that's where the league name doesn't show up. But that is relating to content that is everything except for committees.
Amaris, when you try to find your committees, if your name isn't first, you can't, it doesn't go to your committees.
If your name isn't first. Well, if you start typing in, let's see, let me try another one that doesn't have that at the beginning. As long as you don't have any spaces before it, if you're typing a complete word, if it appears anywhere in there, it doesn't have to be at the beginning. It will include that in the result.
Okay, that's different from the way it used to work.
But at least for this list where this content, insert whatever content you're working on is related to which committees, searching by your league name, that will give you the most, safe list to choose from. So you're not accidentally relating to another league's content. But as always, if that ever happens, if you find somebody else's content that's related to your own committee, just reach out to us because we can quickly remove that and make sure we reach out to the webmaster who may have been responsible.
I know I have one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think you were going to try to approach the National League about pushing their information onto our the subscribers. Did you have any luck? Because I contacted New York State and they were just like, oh, I'll have to talk to the webmaster about that. I don't think we've ever done it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't know how you made out with National.
I don't believe, well, we haven't gotten a response, and I haven't seen any update on the MyLO site, so I'm not sure if they have seen it just yet or if that is just a no. But we will take on and update anything if National really is not duplicating what they're putting out on their MyLO site. But as far as what they're used to putting on and usually going to be putting on is the positions and the action alerts. So we won't see any of their new articles or anything as far as press releases because they aren't posting that at all.
But we're not getting the action alerts even.
Right, I think that's what I'm most concerned about, is getting the action alerts.
They're not coming through.
Well,
But do they use MyLO? I mean, don't they have to use MyLO to, I mean, the state or the national, for us to even have a chance to see their, subscribe to what they have?
as far as being able to subscribe to it, yes, they will need to be creating that, like those action alerts in MyLO. For the way that action alerts behave, only new and upcoming action alerts are going to display when you subscribe to them, or just in general. No old action alerts are displaying right now. We have yet to set that up because there were some questions about just displaying all previous and upcoming action alerts, because that is a very great list for some leagues. But right now, the way that the action alerts are working, the only ones that display are upcoming.
How many
They're
states
still not
actually use
displaying.
MyLO?
I'm sorry, Liz?
How many states actually use MyLO so you could take advantage of your state league's action alerts?
As far as states, oh, you got me in a good one. I don't know that one off the top of my head, but I can post that in the Google group. It's probably worth everybody knowing. I can post that on an update.
And does the National League use MyLO now?
They have what I like to call a mini MyLO site. Their main site is still separate and their own, but as far as their action alerts and their positions, they do post those, or the positions have stayed the same, but action alerts, they should be keeping up to date with those on their mini MyLO site.
So that's wonderful. I didn't even know that. Is there, so how, do you have an example of bringing that into our, you know, our local websites?
Yes. Before I stop masquerading as you, Jan, does your league subscribe to the National League's positions?
Yes.
Okay. And then I also wanted to make sure I caught the other person's question. I had called on Liz, and then somebody else had a question at the same moment. I wasn't sure who it was.
Oh, I think that was me. I was trying to tell you that the action alerts, even though they're there on the National MyLO site, I can see them there, but they're kind of in a subpage and they're still not coming forward to us.
But that was,
Okay.
that was my question, Lynette in Oregon, is in reading the MyLO documents, and I'm brand new at this, I thought that if you subscribe to National, their action alerts automatically upload into your site. And I have two questions: is one, where do they show? And two, we're subscribed and we don't show anything. So
Okay. So I'll jump into the action alerts first, and then we can get back to the positions. But I landed here on the action alerts page for the mini MyLO site of the National League, and this is where to look for the upcoming action alerts, and there's nothing here. We do see old action alerts on their homepage, but when we click through to each one of these, the time range tells us that this is an expired action alert.
okay.
So that's the tell for whether or not it's going to show up. If I went in here and as an admin updated this action alert expiration date to September 8th, then it would show up for all of you that is subscribed to the National League action alerts. And, you know, taking the Orange Coast, for example, it would show up right down here and replace that default sentence.
I've never seen anything on our page. What is that share this?
The share this, where is it here?
That's nothing that we can grab it and pull it over. It was on the
On the other page.
action alert. Yeah. There, that share. What is that for?
That is a global setting across all of the content pages. It is for you to be able to share out to social media or to email. It's essentially to share the URL.
Okay.
You can make a Facebook post if
Okay.
you, depending on the social media, you're making a post to that. But it'll automatically fill in some stuff for you.
Okay, so you just do that and save it and it automatically posts to Facebook?
Yeah, you can, it's by default including the main image and the URL to the page. Once you post to Facebook, you can directly post to Facebook from here using the share button.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is it typical that they don't have much on their action alerts? I mean, are they really making an effort to keep this fresh, or is it really a little disappointing at this point?
Well, as far as I've seen on their actual site and looking at their action alerts, I haven't seen any update as of lately. This seems to be the same one, demand action from Congress.
Isn't that odd considering that we've got kind of an election coming up? Or
Yeah, I am not sure if maybe they have shifted and maybe there isn't as much of a focus on action alerts and taking action and maybe more on informing. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, I have been, trying to keep up with their action alerts just because we have seen a kind of a dip in their level of activity on the MyLO site. So we want to just make sure that it's staying up to date, but it seems like it is according to their list of action.
if they do one, where would it show up on our website?
It would, again, you'd go to your action alerts page, and then under the subscribed action alerts list, it would show up here and replace that sentence.
And then we would want to, and then if we say promote to the front page, it goes into our news scroll under the slideshow.
That is one setting, unfortunately, that is not yet available. We are pushing for that. We haven't gotten hammered out the details yet on what needs to be done to be able to have that happen, but we definitely are trying to get that into webmasters capabilities because we know that promoted stuff sometimes is the juiciest stuff and you want to have that right on the front. So I would say for that, stick to the Google group so that we can keep you up to date on that, but no update on that as of yet.
Okay, so if we wanted to put something on the front page, we would have to create something and put it there.
Yeah, for that particular promoted stuff, you would have to recreate it. We can help if you did need it cloned instead of copying and pasting it yourself, but it would be essentially the same. If there's images in the action alert, then it's probably best that we clone them.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and while we're here, let's see. Am I still masquerading here as you, Jan?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, and I see you don't have the edit leagues headers.
That was one of my questions that I put in the chat to you, Amaris, was the custom view headers and what are they? What do we do with them?
Okay, well, I'm going to masquerade as somebody else, but Jan, I'm making a note to add the league headers to your league so that you have the capability of editing what's here. But I'll go ahead and let's jump over. I probably should have another window open here. Okay. Make it easier to jump in between.
And the league header was under the title of the page.
It is under that and the kind of default sentence that appears.
Okay.
I'm going to travel over kind of to the same page, but on the North Pinellas County site, or a similar page. We'll use the positions here. And while we're here too, the question on positions earlier, refresh my memory, was that to see where the positions, if you were subscribed to the National League, to see where those would display?
Yes.
This is a perfect example. I didn't realize that, yeah, these are the only ones subscribed here for North Pinellas. And the good thing is that you get to see who they're submitted by, because if you click through to subscribe content, you're being taken to that league site. But let's jump back up, and here, so we have the title here as our positions. And when we refer to leagues headers, or you're actually going to be managing and controlling what shows up here. So whenever a league header is empty and unmodified, this is the default. If you've left the text box empty, and let's open this in a new page. So clicking through to edit your league's headers, you're able to edit all, I believe it's 5, the positions, the calendar, the articles, action alerts, and members only. So all of them, if you leave them empty, have a default text that displays. But you see that the members only here has text that has changed it. And I'm sorry, I'm switching back and forth a little too fast there. So let's jump over to the members only page, and we should see that same text, because I think that the default here is something similar, like the positions page below is members only content or something like that. But anytime that you add to it, it's going to display, and you have the option of the different text editors, so you can add images and add links, do all that.
So you just, if you go back one, it said, go just back one.
To the
yeah,
here.
Yeah, it says edit your league's header. So that will always be there?
That will always be there for you as a webmaster. If you're logged out, you wouldn't see it.
Okay, and then why would we change these headers for these various types of content?
One, if you don't like what the default is, and then 2, if you'd want to provide more information about what's below, it will change depending on what the content is. Some, like the action alerts, would probably be pretty self-explanatory, but members only, you know, that depending on the range of content, you might need to give some instructions to people on what to do when they get there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And then also being able to use the images, just making your page pretty too, is another reason to edit your leagues headers.
I was curious how many leagues have actually implemented the members only area and actually put their members in with their logins and their passwords and everything.
I don't know if anybody's looking at it, but I have.
Yeah, we've had quite a few leagues who've at least implemented it and gotten it started with getting their list of members in there. It is difficult to say how active they are, but they are making use of it, and we do see leagues, you know, posting, just like how Karen's league is making use of actually posting things to the page.
And do they, is there a way to import them from like a spreadsheet? The members?
Yes, as long as your league site is live, then that will that's the way that you can request the bulk member upload. We just need the spreadsheet formatted in a certain way. We have a template that you can use, but from there we can import them all at once. And then if you needed help with sending out the welcome email, we can do that too.
When they had that other product that they were pushing at the National League, the thought of being able to have it a database that could be used nationally, but also we could use locally. I mean, that seemed like a really nice feature, because keeping these lists up to date is hard. If you're going to do it at national, and then your membership chair would probably have to fix the website every time we have a lot of turnover with members. I mean, it's a lot of maintenance, or it can be. Maybe
we found it really onerous to manage all the members. So what we do is I know we're not supposed to, but there's no other way. We create a generic member, and when a new member joins, we give them that username and password, and they connect and they can access the members only content. So that's how we manage it, because I've found it very difficult to I had 2 new webmasters I was adding, and I added them under administer league site. I added them, and then they didn't, and I gave them the administrator or webmaster access level, and then they still couldn't log in. So then I had to contact Amaris and say, hey, can you do whatever you need to do to give these people access? I still don't know what she had to do, but that's how we handle it. We just have one generic member, and we don't put anything super sensitive, but we'll put like directories and, PowerPoints for new members, stuff like that.
And I would say to that too, if you wanted to make it a little bit more secure with that one member login, you could update the password periodically. But I definitely understand that, yeah, having to manage multiple, this isn't really a database, but multiple lists, yeah, it becomes time consuming. And if you have large updates, anytime we can come back in and do that bulk member upload of an update. But doing the individual changes would have to be done manually.
Thank you.
Amaris,
Yeah.
When I added a couple of our board members and I didn't do it correctly, I don't know, for whatever reason, the username, I just put in their first name, space, last name, and then somehow missed the boxes that said first name, last name there at the bottom. So now I've created these records which aren't correct. And so I tried to go back and remove that member, but because I've already put their email in, it won't let me delete the record.
Okay. And so were you trying to delete the record so that you could start again, or are you able to edit the record and reuse it? Because was the only thing missing the first and last names?
Well, I wanted to correct the username to the way we're doing it, which is first name, last name, no space.
Okay.
So I can just edit that.
Yes, you can edit. The only kicker there is that you do need to make a note of the username. So no matter who it is that you just created, make a note of that username because that will let you add them to your league. Once they belong to your league, then you can, make any changes that you need to their account again.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But to do that, you'd manage members or go to manage members. You happen to remember or do you know the
Hilly Alexander, the third person down.
Oh, okay.
See how the username is not the way we want it, which is first name, last name, no space, and then there's no first name or last name.
Okay. So to be able to edit somebody that's already in your members list, click on their username, and that brings you to their profile page.
Okay.
And click on edit here.
Okay.
This is going to give you the chance to edit both of those parts. You should not have to fill out the password. You can leave that blank and make any changes that you needed to. I'll go ahead and leave that, but be sure to save there at the bottom.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to keep going down Karen's list here. How to delete a slideshow image? That is a great question. I'm going to continue here with your site, Lynette, but I won't actually delete anything completely. So let's first get to the slideshow item, and that's through the manage content. And I always narrow down the list, but if you have a short list of content, you could probably find it quickly. But choosing the slideshow item for type and then clicking apply narrows down this list, and then either click on the title and we'll get the webmaster tabs and I can click on new draft, or go straight to the new draft by clicking edit. And then there are two ways that you can essentially delete or replace an image for a slideshow. If you want to completely start over and add something else from the media library, then you're going to use remove. Once you click remove, that brings up the browse button again. On the other hand, if you click on edit, this is going to bring up the edit page for the image itself. This is, the pop-up is no longer specifically the slideshow, but it is now the image. You can replace the entire file. This, in this spot, I would caution anybody who is working with an image that is not your own. If this is your own image, then that's fine to replace it. But if it is not your own image and you are replacing the file, you're replacing this file for any other league who's using the same image. So this can happen if you replace that file wherever somebody else is using that on their site, it's instantly being replaced at the same time as yours. So if you wanted to replace an image that was there by default, use instead the remove button.
It sounds like best practice is to remove as long as it's our own image, and then just add a new one.
Yeah, it's
if
definitely,
we want to change it.
That's definitely best practices and best to play it safe that way. Because you always can get rid of images if you did have to add a new version instead of replacing. I'm going to jump over to our files lists, because that's another way of knowing what is being used throughout the sites. So once you get to manage files, you have your quick list of the things that you have uploaded personally. And next to each one, you have the stats, and it tells you where that is being used. And this is just globally throughout MyLO. If it is being used somewhere on a piece of content, then it's going to be docked here or listed here. This positions booklet tells us it's being used on the positions page. So that's just another, if you were looking to.
And what is that node? Go back there. What is that node number?
The node number, this is just telling you what the entity type is. Node is just like another word for page. It is the web page. And the use count is how many times it was added.
So, can you go back to what you were saying about if we're using somebody, if we've downloaded something from the media library that other people are using, how do we edit that so that it doesn't affect other people?
If you're, what do you mean by edit? What are the edits to be made?
Well, there was a photograph or something I took from the media about, I think it was women's vote or something like that. I took it out of the shared files and brought that in and tried to insert it in Slideshow, but it was the complete wrong size. And so I was, I thought that I was told last week that no, when you're going to bring in content like that, you have to resize it before you put it into the slideshow, and save it as your own, and then that will load correctly.
That will work depending on the original quality of the image. It might, you know, if you're stretching out an image to resize it to use it as a slideshow image, it might blow it out, and the graphics or the pixels will look quite large. Another way that you can try searching for one without having to edit it outside of MyLO is using the slideshow image. Is it the media tag? Yeah, the media tag. That's one way that you can try searching by the size, because there isn't a way that the images are uploaded with their dimensions specified.
Okay.
Yes, I have a good example of when you might use edit on one of your own photographs or images.
Oh,
and
on
that
the
was
slideshow?
Yeah, that was a case where we had one of our directors want to change her picture, and she wanted it changed all over the place. And
Oh, I see.
she had gotten a really nice, professional photographer to do her picture, and it was slick. We just did the edit, and everywhere that picture appeared of her, it changed to the new picture.
That is definitely true. I think those are probably going to be, in a pinch moments where they may not be often, but once you have that picture in a lot of places, it's very nice to have that in the back pocket. I'm going to open up the chat again, and I think we have some more time, just maybe for a couple more questions. Perfect. With the slideshow images, the recommended pixel dimensions are, or it displays in 800 pixels across and 400 pixels high. And that is, with the border on, or that white bar on top of it for the title. So it would have to be a little bit smaller if you wanted everything in your image to appear above that bar.
Where do we go to make the slide smaller? Like on the interior pages, when you load in pictures from the media library, they're so large they kind of take up a lot of the screen if you're working on a laptop, and so we'd like to make the images not so tall.
And I'm sorry, this is for the just within the text boxes, or are these for slideshow?
When you load in, when you've got an interior page and you're loading in an image, the image for that page, we would like to make the pictures much more narrow.
Okay, as far as making them narrow, do you have a page?
Go to the vote page there, off the, yeah. Just
In
click
this one here?
Yeah.
Okay,
and see how that's quite large. And so we would like to
I
make
see. The main image fields, and I'll go through to the new draft. The image fields that are up at the top above the body, these are the main image and alternate hero image fields. They work in the same way, or similar. As far as the width, they will have that same width, and the height is dependent on the original image. So for this one, it would be another example of taking it out, downloading it, and having to edit it outside of MyLO, like on Paint or Paint 3D program like that, and re-uploading it. There isn't a way to manipulate the size in these fields.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can we go into the text field and you discuss sizing it in there?
Yeah, that is one way. And again, I won't save any of this, but just to add in an image so that we can resize that. I won't be able to narrow it or make it skinnier or anything like that. I can just proportionately resize it.
Okay.
So using or choosing from all of the files, I will just add in something random there. I'll leave that as full content because I want to be able to resize it to what I want exactly on the next page. Once you submit that, select the image so that it's highlighted and the resize border comes up around the edges. The only times we've had problems with this is with Firefox, where it may not appear as far as the resizing border. But that allows you to size it to, you know, what you want. And then if you wanted to give it a bit of style, you can float the image, and that gives it the wrap text look. You can float it to the right. And with this, you do have to deselect what you have chosen because the styles will stack up.
Okay.
And then float image left is the another.
I've noticed I have a lot of problems when I set it to something in the styles and then I want to get rid of what I've done. And sometimes I can't undo what I've done.
If that happens, it may be like if it's like to text, that might happen more often. Make sure that you're highlighting the full phrase or paragraph that has that formatting applied to it. Because sometimes what might happen if you only capture a portion of it, it's going to remove it. You know, if we had, it might be difficult to show an example, but if you had only a portion of that selected and you tried to remove that setting, what it's actually doing is applying another instance of that setting. So make sure that you just highlight the full portion. It's usually easier to manipulate the images, but the text, if it proves to be too difficult to try capturing the full text that you had, you can always remove the formatting and start over.
Oh, great.
And use the eraser.
Okay, that's great. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and with the remove formatting, I will say that the headings do remain. So if I take this heading, for example, it's set to heading 4, and I click on remove formatting, it doesn't change it because this is separate from the formatting. So you would have to manually remove that either by clicking heading 4 or paragraph.
Okay.
But
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is how people get the really teeny tiny pictures in the action alerts that are off to the side. So you just make the image really, really small and then do your word wrap.
Oh, maybe, are you referring to the, let's see.
You'll have to use another site for
Okay.
action alerts because I haven't mastered that yet.
Well, and if you have any, is it the image on the left side of the text?
Yeah.
Okay. We
Yes,
don't
I
have an
didn't know
example
how to
here, but I
add
know
an
what you're
to
talking
our
about.
board. I didn't know how to add an image to our board meeting.
Okay. Well, why don't we, can I use this as an example? Awesome. Yeah, that is actually done through the main image. So you, just by adding an image there, the system is automatically taking it to the thumbnail size when it's either when it's promoted to the front page or when it's showing up on its complementary listing page, like the calendar. Okay, awesome. So you have an alternate hero image here. I'm going to use then that same one for the main image. The difference between the two is if for the main image, that's kind of a catch-all. If you don't have something added to the alternate hero image, then the main will display for the top of the page, above or below the title and above the body text, and will also display as the thumbnail on the front page and on the list page. But if you also have an alternate hero image in there, you can have the main image show something for the thumbnail, and then the alternate hero image would show something else, or could show something else for the top of the page.
Oh, okay.
If you wanted to see an example of this, is there an image, Lynette, that I could use that would be different for the main image that you would like? And I'll go ahead and open this up. If there was one for the board meeting that you may have already seen, and I'm going to zoom in here to make it a little easier to see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't see register to vote, but I was looking for a nice history picture the other day. So
Okay. Let's check out historical images. Okay.
yeah, the suffragettes there would be great. The
This one
100th
here?
anniversary, 100th anniversary or suffragette pictures, great.
Okay, awesome. I'll go for the 100th anniversary and go to the next page here. Zoom back out a little. There we go. Okay, so this will definitely give us a good idea on the different images. Because I've made a change there to the image fields outside of the body, anything outside of the body, I will need to publish before I save so that I can see those changes right away to the images. So I'll publish and save that. It spit us back out to the front page because that's where we started. And now we have the thumbnail image added in. This is just the default size of that space when it's promoted to the front page or when it's on the listing page.
So
and
that's the main image?
That was
the main? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And clicking through, we see the alternate hero image. If we had removed the alternate hero image and left only the main image, then the main image would be showing up here too by default.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. That helps a lot.
Definitely. Awesome.